Guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about which privacy YouTubers you should ditch and which ones you should keep. Now, I don't mean to make this video very toxic. As always on YouTube, you do kind of need a catchy, controversial title, so there you go. In this video, I'll be talking about some of my privacy related YouTubers and some of the ones I think need some work or who could improve before you start watching them. Or if you do watch them, maybe you might want to rethink it and watch some other ones. So first off, I'm going to be mentioning some of my favorite privacy YouTubers that maybe you should watch. First up, we're going to be recommending a channel called Naomi Brackwell. Now, Naomi Brackwell is a kind of a good person in the privacy space. I think it's refreshing to kind of have a woman's perspective on privacy, and she does a pretty good job with overall privacy in general. I like some of her takes. Her takes on VPNs haven't been too bad. You know, she made a video about the dark side of VPNs, and honestly the video is pretty good and has a lot of truth to it. I like Naomi Brackwell because she definitely seems educated when it comes to privacy, and overall has very solid content that you can watch just in general about privacy overall. So if you haven't checked out Naomi Brackwell, go ahead and check her out. Next up is a YouTuber called Mental Outlaw, and he's probably one of the bigger ones on in terms of this video. He kind of makes more popularized styles videos talking about latest news and stuff like that, and he even makes some kind of more personal videos about cooking and some of the things with his best friends. I've heard some stuff that he might be like more conservative in terms of political leanings. In fact, when I was making this video, I got kind of more curious actually about it, and I did see some conversations on Reddit talking about how he kind of made a video talking about how tech is becoming too politically correct or something like that. Apparently in the video he kept emphasizing white and Jewish liberals, just really emphasizing the Jewishness of his perceived enemies. So there is some controversy about that, at least. And some people did seem to think there's some kind of dog whistle for anti-Semitism. That said, he did end up deleting this video, as you can see it here. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything really that bad in it. Honestly, I did end up watching a little bit of this video, and I do think some of the controversy is a bit overblown. This part where he's talking about white and Jewish people, he's talking about how sometimes they like to kind of tokenize black people, and this is definitely true. So overall, I wouldn't really give too much credence to the controversy, although I did briefly want to cover it, and there could be more truth to it overall. But overall, I don't think it's a huge issue, and I still do recommend his content for the quality of it. But anyways, outside of that, I do think he is a pretty good resource when it comes to privacy. He seems pretty educated and knows his stuff. So check him out. Next up, we have someone called Side of Burritos, and this is probably one of the smaller ones on this recommended list. Primarily, he does kind of talk about graphene, primarily. He does kind of go into some other categories, but I like Side of Burritos because he has a pretty kind of low-key kind of style, informative and stuff like that, which I do like. He's not super clickbait or misinformed or anything like that, so he's a good one to watch if you want to learn more about graphene primarily, I think, and some mobile operating systems. Next up, we have me. I am the VPN guy. I would say I primarily cover stuff related to VPNs and maybe even stuff related to torrenting. I also like covering other stuff with the privacy related tools as well, to kind of expand some there. I have really good videos on how to be safe online as a senior, how to unblock certain shows, different review comparisons and stuff like that. My special niche here on the channel is the VPN tier list, where I specifically rate VPNs objectively and not by sponsorships or anything like that. I also have been doing this for around 6 or 7, 8 years, maybe the longest here. I don't have the hugest subscriber count, but that's because I exclusively focus on informational, non-clickbait related content. You'll see what you get. Even this video, like I said, has a controversial title, but you're going to get what you see. So there you go. Anyways, guys, now I'm going to be talking about which ones I think you should ditch or maybe avoid for now until they improve their content. That's going to be VPN Pro. Now, VPN Pro, honestly, to me, personally to me, in my opinion, he seems kind of like a voice actor. I'm not really sure where these ideas or information is coming from. You'll find that all the videos have a script, which could lend credence to that idea. He pretty much just promotes NordVPN, Surfshark, and Atlas, and tries to kind of spin that as in many ways possible, comparing it to other VPNs or trying to promote those ones in and of itself. So to me, he's not really a trustworthy resource, especially if you look at some of his videos, like some of his TorGuard reviews or some other reviews. Usually they're kind of full of misinformation, or they kind of present things in a specific narrative just to promote his chosen 3 products. So honestly, not a very good VPN resource in my opinion. Next up is someone called TechLord. Now, he kind of covers general privacy as well, but my interactions with this dude have not been good. His community has been extremely toxic, although it's gotten a little less toxic over the years. I think they just got bored of shit talking me on the daily. If you go on his Discord and you look up my name, Tom Spark, you'll see that they've been shit talking me for years and years, and most of it just because I like different products than he does. The thing about TechLore I think makes him the most dishworthy in some ways is that his takes are honestly poor a lot of times. Not only that, but he also likes to dunk on Graphene OS. He made this video talking about how toxic they are, and I've heard a lot of people have been turned away from Graphene OS due to this video. In fact, this video annoyed me so much, I actually went through the video and talked about some of the points, and some of the points he makes are so dumb. In one point of the video, he actually is like complaining that like that Daniel McKay, the developer, is too toxic against like PayPal because he complains about PayPal fees. The amount he reaches here to say that he's toxic is just crazy.
Him talking about PayPal and the fees for PayPal in India, and then he pretty much talks about how this is hurting Graphene, and then he says PayPal would freeze my entire account for months, blah blah blah. PayPal, and then this person,
because from what I've observed about Graphene OS, they're nothing but a helpful community that just cares about open source stuff. They're not really making any money, just trying to give more privacy and security to mobile users. I think he doesn't even talk about Graphene OS anymore because Daniel McKay threatened to sue him because he was spreading so much misinformation. I guess he had even made an installation guide for Graphene OS that had led, it could have led people to break their phones. So that's also concerning. But outside of that, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of his personal style. He kind of presents this nice, friendly person in the camera. I've heard rumors that there's even like private signal groups that he's a part of, and they kind of shit talk people and stuff like that. So yeah, not a good look. Honestly, I would stay away from this one in terms of like the mobile misinformation. I'm not telling people to use Graphene. He likes to talk about mobile configurations and stuff like that, privacy related mobile OS. But again, his take on Graphene OS I think is so bad, and it's honestly by far and above the best one. So take that into consideration. Next up is a YouTuber called HatedOne, and here's another one I've also had personal beef with. I called out the HatedOne a number of years ago because he started randomly putting NordVPN sponsorships in his videos while simultaneously also telling people to stay away from VPN. It just seemed very hypocritical to me. And I called him out for that, and he was not happy on his subreddit. Later on, he actually ended up removing a lot of those sponsorships and kind of backtracking without telling anyone or really kind of making a big deal out of it, which was like kind of lame to me. He never apologized to me, and his content in and of itself isn't really that good. It's very conspiracy oriented though, if that's something you like. This video, he got a lot of views where he talks about how bad Kurzagat is. But honestly, Kurzagat, I don't think it's that bad of a channel. And you'll see a lot of comments if you sort by new disagreeing with him and saying he didn't really do his proper research. Again, this one is more about conspiracy and stuff like that and some of these things. So maybe if that sounds good to you, you might like it. His takes in some ways are better than TechLore. He did a cool Graphene OS developer interview, so at least there is that. But yeah, overall, I'm not a huge fan of his personality or person, but some of his content can be okay depending on if you like that sort of thing. Next up is going to be someone called Rob Braxman, and he is a pretty controversial figure as well. Now, on a personal level, I actually do kind of like Rob. I think he's pretty cool as a person, but some of his content I've heard some controversial things about. I heard from the Graphene OS people that apparently he is kind of telling people not to use Graphene OS and use his kind of sold phones and operating systems instead, which aren't really that secure. So that could be something to look into if you're looking into that. Braxman is kind of focused on getting people onto his portal and selling his products, which honestly I don't think are that good. I reviewed his VPN, and it's essentially just open VPN configurations sold to kind of customers at pretty high price. I don't really think there's that much to it. I don't think his products are that good, but again, I do kind of like him as a person. I've talked to him before, and he's way more friendly than TechLore, the HatedOne. So I'm kind of a mixed bag on Rob Braxman. I think some of his content could have some merit, and he could have some interesting ideas, but I'm just not a huge fan of his products that he does promote. Lastly, we could talk about All Things Secured, and this is a guy I don't think is really giving that good of content. He primarily kind of recommends high affiliate program providers like Instead of recommending Bitwarden, he'll recommend not LastPass, 1Password. And overall, his takes just honestly aren't really that good. He recommends other high commission products too, like ExpressVPN, and he doesn't really seem too much of an expert or put that much research. He just kind of is in this niche and kind of recommending products around the ones that pay him a lot, at least in my opinion. Anyways, guys, that's my video on who you should ditch and who you should keep in terms of privacy-related YouTube content. I hope that was helpful. I hope it wasn't too toxic. At the end of the day, this is just my opinion. If you like these YouTubers, if you don't like them, that's up to you as well. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next video very soon.